Very good, thank you.
Awesome. Front page, shall we?
Okay, yeah.
Okay, let me start with the Daily Statesman, which says Manasseh's DI militia expose was misleading. National Media Commission slams down on multimedia group. Ghana has no excuse to be poor. I agree, says Allen. And President orders arrest of disco chief's attackers.
Okay, so that disc chief story also on the front page of the Chronicle. Ghana forks out $4.5 million for AFCON fiasco. Players pocket $1.1 million. KMA wins £400,000 sanitation challenge prize. And police rescue 2 abducted children.
Bako punches holes in CID report exonerating Charles Bissu. As a banner headline on the new Crusading Guide, ministers must leave Martin alone. Kojo Asante speaking, and Kojo Asante, there's Dr. Kojo Asante of the CDD. Martin there is Martin Amidou. ATIX hosts African investors in Dubai. It's also featured on the front page.
Okay, on the front page of the Daily Guide, WAMCO is back, makes $2 million profit. Now, WAMCO is a cocoa processing company in Takoradi. Nana condemns disc of chief attack. Boris Johnson is UK Prime Minister. Bench warrants for ex-Mastock boss accomplice. And of course, the headline, that's AFCON story.
Assembly squander 79.6 million Ghana cedis. That's the front page of the Business Finder. Fun fact, this amount represents 194.6% increase over the 40.9 million Ghana cedi squandered in 2017. This is according to the Auditor General. An Indian firm to transform Tema shipyard and bond savings and loans is very secure and solid, according to the CEO.
On the back page of the Ghanaian Times, government initiates measures to protect offshore infrastructure. And on the front page, 59 die, 20 amputated at Kolebu in 2,563 Okada accidents in 2.5 years. Also, President fulfilling Axim Landing Beach promise. And of course, that story, the I Group, not Militia.
UEW has only one VC education minister. That's on the front page of the Daily Graphic. Parliament to withdraw Vigilantism Act, interesting one there. There's a special supplement on real estate, building and construction sector inside the issue, so you might want to grab a copy of the Daily Graphic to get those details. The 2 most ubiquitous stories are on the front page of the Daily Graphic. The president asking for a probe into the violence in Disco and NMC faulting the multimedia group on Militia video. On the back page though, KMA wins maiden sanitation challenge for Ghana.
Yes.
£400,000. Beautiful. Kudos to the
well
team
done to them.
As the KMA. And also, we must mention our friends at Love and Insura FM who are embarking on a sanitation campaign with the KMA. The Clean Up Kumasi campaign, which has seen some interesting strides being chalked in the arrest of persons who commit sanitation offences. However, though, we have to start on a rather depressing note.
Yes. So the head of A&E and Orthopedics Department of the Kolebu Teaching Hospital, Dr. Frederick Kwarting, has revealed some really scary and sad statistics. So there have been 2,563 accidents involving motorcycles in the past 2.5 years. And these accidents victims have come through Kolebu. So this is not the national statistic. This is for Kolebu alone. Now, out of that, 59 people have died, and 20 of them have been amputated. The ages are between 18 to 37 and mostly male. And he was saying that 60% of patients in the trauma wards at the moment are from Okada accidents. They see about 95 cases every month from Okada accidents, and the first quarter of this year has seen 462 accidents from Okada coming through, as opposed to last year when it was 425 and 2017 when it was 405 and 452. Sorry. Now he says that he's not asking for a total ban on Okada or calling for its legalization, but he is saying that there has to be enforcement. Now, we do know that according to the Road Traffic Regulation, Article 128, 2012, it forbids the use of motorcycles or tricycles for commercial purposes. So this conversation then becomes about enforcing these rules that have been put into place, because a lot of people are ending up in the hospital with these accidents from Okada.
It's definitely a conversation that cannot die now. Whether or not Okada should be legalized, whether it should be legalized mainstream across the country or only in some municipalities and districts. That's a conversation that must definitely be generated again. Let's, however, address one of the main issues that concerns the multimedia group. It's been in the news since yesterday. The banner headline in the Daily Graphic says NMC faults multimedia group over Militia video. Let me begin telling it this way. On the 7th of March 2019, we aired a documentary on radio and TV here on Joy FM and on Joy News on TV called A Militia in the Heart of the Nation. The documentary made some assertions. The first was that there's a group called the Militia Group. It's a militia group. Number two, this group is occupying the Osu Castle contrary to the law. Number three, this group, even though it's holding itself as a security company, is not registered by the Interior Ministry. So those main things were there. Also, there was the assertion that the group was evicted a bit later after our information was gathered and we started asking questions. So government refuted these assertions in the documentary on the 13th of March 2019. The Minister of Information, Kojo Oponkroma, had a news conference. So they filed a complaint, on the 13th of March 2019, government filed a complaint with the NMC. Government wanted the NMC to, first of all, investigate the documentary and direct the multimedia group to retract it and apologize. Government wanted the commission to prescribe sanctions against the media organization, that's the multimedia group. So let me take you to what the NMC actually did after its months of investigation. And I'll begin by telling you about what they ruled about the group and its presence. They said the commission is of the view that whereas it finds the presence in the castle of the DI group problematic and unacceptable, the group did not manifest any violent conduct to be described as a militia or vigilante group from the documentary, as the people of Ghana have come to identify such groups. The key that some would point you to the fact that it's as the people of Ghana have come to identify such groups, so it's by that definition. So he says that the presence there is problematic and unacceptable, but it's not a militia group. It then went on to say that some parts were sensationalized. The commission concluded that there was no predisposition to violence in the documentary. Therefore, the association of the DI group with the Ayawaso West Wuogon violence, there was footage of that in the documentary. And the BBC story from Nigeria, you see that online story we put out to promote the documentary had some marksmen carrying guns. That we put file on it, on that picture, because it was from a BBC story describing some men in Nigeria, right? He says that the NMC says that the use of that picture and that footage was sensational. It also went on to say, whereas the multimedia group provided evidence of attempts by government officials to remove the group from the castle, it still associated the president with the group. And the commission held that it was unfair, especially when the multimedia group later publicly apologized to the president. So these are the main things. It must, however, be important to note that government wanted the NMC to ask the multimedia group to retract and apologize, and also to prescribe sanctions against the media organization. The NMC did not. The NMC said that we had earlier apologized for people's misconceptions that we were trying to draw a link between this group and the president directly. We apologize for that and said that if that has been done, there's no need for us to do any retraction and apology. Listen to our managing news editor, Elvis Kwashi, responding to the NMC's ruling.
We respect the commission, we accept the decision, but we disagree. There's something in the ruling that said we link the president to the operations of the DI group. We didn't. All we did was to say the leader of the group had worked with the president when he wasn't president. That's the only extent to it. The president came to this conversation. Was the work a misrepresentation? No.
So that's it for that story. Anymore, let's go to a town that makes you feel very uncomfortable. Tepa.
Yes, I'm healing from what they did to us at the National Science and Maths Quiz. But the Wawa District Police Commander, Deputy Superintendent of Police, Mr. Simons Amenu, is saying that a case is being investigated in that area. And this is the case. So 2 little girls, one of them was 8, one of them was 6, were sent to their grandmother's house. They were giving 2 buckets of shea nuts to be taken to her. So they took these shea nuts to her. She asked them to take them to another lady who wanted to buy them. So they did that, collected the money, came back home. Now, their grandmother said that the 35 Ghana cedis, which they got for the 2 buckets of shea nuts, was not enough. So she sent them back the following morning to go and collect the shea nuts and give the money back. Now, what happened on their way was that 2 men came behind them, grabbed them, blindfolded them, stuffed their mouths with cloths, and carried them away. A few hours later, some female pupils were on their way to school and one of them attempted, one of them who wanted to stopped in this structure, this uncompleted structure, and saw these two girls tied up, blindfolded, and with cloth in their mouths, and raised an alarm. And so people in the community came to rescue them. Now, these girls have been reunited with their family, with their grandmother and their father. However, the people who kidnapped them are still out there, and the reason for the kidnapping is still unknown, and which is all very worrying. They're saying that they're going to keep their eyes on this, keep investigating, and hopefully they'll have some answers soon. But I can imagine how the community must be feeling, knowing that two little girls there's been an attempted kidnapping, and the kind of scares and concerns that would come up.
So the girls have been found, the children have been found.
The children have been found,
but
yes.
The culprits have not been found.
They have not been found, and we don't know why, we don't know where. There's nothing. It was a very random kidnapping attack.
So this is the opposite of what happened in Takoradi, where one of the suspects has been found, but the girls have not been found.
Yeah.
And the president has been speaking to that in his visit to the Western region. He says all efforts are being made to bring back the girls. The fact that not much information has been out in the public domain does not imply that the state or security agencies are not working hard to ensure their safe return to their families. He was speaking at Axim, at a landing beach site, commissioning there. Now, in this trip, the president was supposed to go and commission the landing beach at Disco.
Yeah.
He did not go. It was actually supposed to go and cut the sod for the construction of a landing beach or a landing site. He did not go. And he told the people at Axim that he would not go because of the act of violence which had taken place there. The place he did visit, which he did not plan to go earlier, was the FM Kwanta Regional Hospital, where Nana Kwesi Agyeman the ninth, the Omanhene, or the paramount chief of the Lower Disco traditional area, was being kept after he was attacked and kidnapped. The president told the public that the doctors are confident that Nana Agyeman will be discharged by Saturday because his injuries are not life-threatening. The president made an emphatic statement whilst he was addressing the public there. He said that he has directed the police that all who carried out the attack, whether they are 10 persons or 100, must be rounded up and put before court for the law to take its rightful course. Now, let me take you back to what happened to occasion all of this, the visit to the hospital, the attack and all of that. There are some attackers, 4 of them actually, who are alleged to have broken into Nana Agyeman's palace using dynamite. They blew open the gate, they broke into the palace, they snatched him and 4 of his other subjects. It's unclear whether the 4 subjects were in the palace with him as well. But they snatched him, destroyed property. Most importantly and most alarmingly, they set fire to a PDS transformer, and so they cut power supply to some parts of that place now. The cause of the action, according to Daily Statesman, is unknown, but Obimpo Himadechi, the 15th, who has been named as the one who allegedly ordered these 4 persons to carry out this heinous crime, has mentioned that some of his subjects were attacked previously, and that this was a retaliatory attack, though he knows nothing about it because he was not even in the palace at the time that Nana Agyeman was taken to his palace, that's the Upper Disco Palace, and he knows nothing about it. He says that he has made several reports to the Ghana police in the Western region before this of similar attacks to his subjects, and those reports to the police have been largely ignored. So we are still watching that space to see what comes up, but the president has spoken. Arrest them all, he says.
Well, the Minister of Youth and Sports, Isaac Kwame Asiama, has been trending since yesterday, pretty much, and AFCON and everything associated to football. So it has come out how much we spent on AFCON. We know that we spent $4.5 million. The budget was actually $6.3 million. So there's a claim that we have made some savings. Somebody posted this morning that if we don't stop talking about it, the $1 million that we saved will be used to set up a commission on inquiry and eventually will be blown as well. So there you go. But there have been a lot of questions about the breakdown, the budget details, including the visa fees, considering that you don't need a visa to go to Egypt. There's been some explanations going around about transit visas and all of that. There's also the accommodation and feeding fee, which came up to, well, the accommodation was almost $1.2 million and the feeding was about $420,000. Now, speaking to Gary this morning, because also circulating on social media is the fact that CAF takes care of of a lot of the people who are sent. Well, Gary clarified that for us and said that officially the host nation or CAF will take care of the 23 players, their accommodation and their feeding, and a set number of officials. Now, that set number is 17. So, all in all, CAF and the host nation will take care of 40 people in terms of their accommodation and their food. And then everybody else that you bring is kind of your responsibility. So, what we're saying is that we spent almost $1.6 million feeding and accommodating the other people that we took to go and support them and all of that. Nice enough for us. Gary will be in the studio 7:35, so he'll bring you everything that you need to know about the AFCON spending situation.
Exactly, and we'll get those details. I'm curious to know how many people we sent aside from the 40 that are covered by CAF.
Yeah.
And Isaac Esiama did not give those
Give the figure.
details in Parliament as far as we know. So we are sniffing around. Gary is gathering as much information as we can on this later on the show. We'll definitely be touching on that among other issues. But anymore, let me take you to Winneba. Or is it really Winneba? It's the drama of Winneba, which is taking place in Accra.
Right?
Because the
Yeah.
Education Minister,
Yes.
Dr. Matthew Opoku Prempeh, has been speaking to it. So Dr. Opoku Prempeh addressed the country yesterday when he was speaking at a Meet the Press engagement. You know, in the past, this question has come up that the University of Education Winneba has 2 vice chancellors. Dr. Frimpong Duku, who is the president of the University Teachers Association of Ghana, UTAG, in the UEW, 2 days ago told Evans Mensah on Newsnight that, on Top Story, pardon me, that UEW has 2 VCs because, first of all, Professor Malta Avoke, who is a former vice chancellor, was removed because some questions were raised about him, some procurement breaches and what have you. Now, Reverend Professor Alfo Bruni was invested as VC to replace him. He says in a caretaker position. Now, Yoko has cleared Professor Malta Avoke. So he believes that it is time he being Professor Malta Avoke himself and a number of his supporters, which include Dr. Frimpong Duku. They believe that Professor Malta Avoke can now go back and occupy his position. They've had this Yoko ruling since April. They addressed the media, they addressed the public in April, and they said that look, they're forgiving Reverend Professor Alfo Bruni. It's time for them to let sleeping dogs lie and build those bridges. However, they have been waiting for Reverend Professor Alfo Bruni to do the rightful or to do the needful and step aside. He has not. So a couple of days ago on Tuesday is when the drama really broke out. Prof. Avoke stormed the UEW campus, entered the council chamber and tried to hold a news conference declaring that he has come to assume his role as the vice chancellor. That did not happen. What did not happen was that he didn't even do the news conference in the council chamber. The police came there and told him that no, he cannot hold the news conference there. So he stepped out and said the same thing outside. We were expecting him to go back to work yesterday, as Dr. Frimpong Duku told us. We didn't see any Maxwell Araba spent almost the whole day there. Richard Kojunyako has also been monitoring affairs. We didn't see him there, and that appears not to have come on. Now, Dr. Matthew Opoku Prempeh was asked during the news conference. In fact, our own Ernest Kojominu raised that question when he went for the Meet the Press, and he said that, look, UEW does not have 2 VCs. UEW has 1 VC, Reverend Professor Alfo Bruni. It may be that Professor Malta Avoke may have some questions about it, but even if he has questions about it, he should go and address those questions using the legal means. He can't just go and hold himself as vice chancellor. He says that it is equal to someone just going to Jubilee House to say that I am president of the country. So Professor Avoke should use the legal means to address this issue. So the gauntlet now lies with Professor Avoke to see what he will do next. But this issue seems not to be going away anymore. Okay. So we're going to wrap up on this section of the news review. Now we're going to go online. The online news review is brought to you by Zenith Bank. In your best interest and Goyle Good Energy. Now when it comes to traveling with ease and comfort, Zenith Bank's wide array of MasterCard and Visa cards will help you do just that. You can conveniently use your Zenith MasterCard and Visa cards at over 33 million Visa and MasterCard branded ATMs worldwide. On the internet for online purchases and payments, in-shop for payments of goods and services at all Zenith Bank ATMs, and on local and international POS or retail outlets that accepts Visa and MasterCard. Sign up today, or if you already have one, use the Zenith MasterCard and Visa cards for a great travel experience Go light with Zenith Bank. It's faster and smarter. Zenith Bank, in your best interest. Make your day productive by relying on quality fuel from Goil, your 3-time CIMG Petroleum Company of the Year. Goil Super XP and Diesel XP are additive to enhance strong engine performance and prolong the lifespan of your vehicle. Above all, you are guaranteed extra quality with our fuel analyzer from our mobile laboratory van. Get your money's worth every day by buying fuel and lubricants from any of Goil's over 360 service stations nationwide and experience good energy. Buy Goil, go Ghana. Goil, good energy. Goil, Yenara Yedia. Imagine a funeral finance plan that puts you in control from the start. That's what the Enterprise Funeral Finance Plan Unlimited does. With the Enterprise Funeral Finance Plan Unlimited, you have no limits and no restrictions. You are free to choose your premiums, policy lifespan, beneficiaries, and even your benefits. No age restrictions and no lapse. Sign up for the Enterprise Funeral Finance Plan Unlimited today for your own good. Enterprise, your advantage. MyJoyOnline.com begins with, I consulted no one over SP job, and Amidu denies hallucinating Esiedu Nketia claims. The special prosecutor Martin Amidu has denied claims that he was warned against accepting the job to head the anti-graft office. Mr. Amidu. Now, Mr. Amidu says he has read news reports attributed to the NDC General Secretary Johnson Esiedu Nketia, which alleges that he, Martin Amidu, was cautioned against accepting the special prosecutor job because the laws that establish the office will impede his work. You know that when he was appointed anymore, I interviewed the former chief of staff, Nana Tudaze, and John Indebubi was interviewed on Newsfile. They both said the same thing, that he would be frustrated out of his job, that he would quit. He said that he did not consult anyone, and all of these, he said they are just deceiving you. It will amount to nothing. They just want to destroy your name. Well, I said it, he did not listen. Johnson Esiedu Nketia is alleged to have said in an interview that is published on myjoyonline.com. Privatization is the best option for Tema Oil Refinery. Alex Mold speaking there. Google now drives with a Nigerian accent. Interesting. So if you are driving in Nigeria, you now have the option of hearing a route advice in a Nigerian accent. So if you reach the next turn, take a left turn. I want to hear it in Pidgin, Charlie. If you catch there, just check left. All right, then you're still listening to the Super Body Show on Joy 99.7 FM. It's 6 minutes to the top of the hour. We'll be right back. Stay with us.
As an executive,